guys, welcome back to another episode of Lights Out with Ish and Eve. I'm Ish and this is Eve, and we are finally back in the same country.
Yay!
Back on our comfy little couches.
I know.
Together.
It feels like so long since we've filmed
I know.
in person. It feels like so long since we filmed because when we were filming via FaceTime,
Yeah.
it was just a different vibe.
It was. And also there was the whole mid-season break.
Yeah.
So it has actually been ages.
I know.
Since I've been here. And we were setting up everything.
I was
And we were like, how do we do this again?
I was like, is it filming? We've made that mistake before.
So we're back.
For now.
But we're not back for long because we're so excited. This weekend, literally 48 hours from now, we are going to be on a plane to Singapore.
Bro, I'm so excited.
Me too.
So it's our first Grand Prix.
Yes.
Night race.
Yes.
Bro, I'm street race.
Street race.
I'm so excited.
Dude, it's so Evie and I watched the race together.
Last night, yeah.
Which was the first time I think
In
since
ages. Since
your first race.
No, because
Oh,
I
maybe.
watched Suzuka. I watched Japan with you guys as well.
Yeah.
Did I? I did.
Yeah, I think so. So we watched the race together, and then at
So
the end of the
fun.
race, there was the hype reel for Singapore, and Evie and I were just like, we were so
I
excited.
know. I kept side-eyeing you. I was like, because we were watching
Anyways.
with all Ishana's housemates as well, so I didn't want to make a scene.
I know.
I didn't want to rub it in.
Yeah, but we were low key just.
Every time they mentioned Singapore, we were like. So I'm so excited. We're going there for a week, so we're gonna be.
Yes. You're gonna have your birthday.
I
While we're over there.
know.
It's gonna be
Virgo
so good.
season, baby.
Slay.
Slay.
Anyways, so we're very excited. So I think next week our podcast is going to come to you from Singapore.
Yes.
So keep an eye out for all our Singapore content.
Yes, we're going to be posting a lot of Singapore content on what's the fuck called? TikTok, Instagram, and we're going to vlog as well. So there will be a Singapore vlog hitting the tube.
Hitting
Ooh,
the tube.
that was embarrassing. On YouTube, because after Singapore there's another 3-week break.
Yeah.
So we'll be
We were really
posting-
happy. We were like, oh, we've got time to put all our content
Yeah,
together.
from Singapore. So stay tuned, follow us on the other platforms, and we are really, really, really excited.
Yeah.
Because it's our first Grand Prix, and we get to see Lewis with Mercedes before he leaves.
Carlos with Ferrari before he
Yes.
leaves.
Correct. A few people before they don't have
Colapinto
seat.
before he doesn't have a
Yeah.
drive anymore.
And
Joe before he gets booted out. The list
Yeah.
goes on.
K-Mag probably.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, we get to see a
Anyways.
bunch of people that is exciting. So
Yes.
we're a little bit keen.
Yes.
So we should probably
But
get
that's
into
next weekend. So let's talk about the weekend we just had in
Yes.
Baku. I don't know if this is a controversial opinion or not. Upon reflection, so when the race finished, I was like, that was okay. I've since reflected on it, and I think it was a good race,
Yeah.
but I think it was just shy of being a banger.
I agree. Banger status,
Yeah.
probably not. When we compare to some of the other races that we've had
Yeah.
so far this year.
Because people online were like, best race since Canada. And I
Ooh.
was like, I don't know about that. But it
mean,
was a good race.
What other races have been really good since Canada?
I mean...
Silverstone was a banger.
Silverstone was a banger. I mean,
Austria was kind of a banger.
yeah.
Maybe
Even
just,
Spa was really good.
yeah.
Zandvoort.
Zandvoort, I had a great time.
Yeah.
But I think the reason that it,
Austria. Wait, did you say Austria?
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was a banger?
I feel Spain was pretty good too.
I can't even fucking
I'm
remember.
just
They
trying to
all
think of
blur
the
into
episodes
one.
we did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they've just been all. I think the standard of race has just been so good this year.
Yes.
I feel if this race had happened last year, maybe it would have been banger status.
Totally. But I felt there was just here's what would have made it a banger for me.
Yeah.
If there was a bit more switchback between Oscar and Charles,
Yeah.
absolute banger, 10 out of 10.
A few more overtakes rather than just defending with his life.
Yeah, it just felt a little bit processional. It gave me Singapore 2023 vibes,
Sure.
which was Carlos just
Defending.
defending and like giving Lando DRS to make sure like he didn't get overtaken. Like that was the general vibe I got.
Yeah, sure.
But anyways,
it was a really good race. Because
it was a very good
that's
race.
the thing as well. Like, if you'd put that battle that was going on further down the field, like if
Whatever.
we're watching people fight like that, yeah, it's always great to see people fight like that. Like,
Yeah,
that was some really good racing.
it was.
But if you'd put that fighting for like P12,
Yeah.
we'd be like, oh, they're still at it.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, absolutely.
But I feel like obviously we'll get there. We'll recap the weekend as per. But like the crash, as always, like I don't want to see like big crashes and like people, you know, obviously it kind of sucks for them.
Yeah.
But the race kind of needed that.
It
Like,
did.
It was just like the cherry on top of like a lot of things that had been kind of brewing up. Like the way Oscar and
Totally.
Charles were like going at it, I was like almost certain they were going to crash at some points in time.
Totally.
So like for like someone to finally have a crash, it was
Yeah,
kind of like
for there to finally be like a thing that happened because of
the fighting.
the fighting. I was going to say climax, and I was like, that's not a good word.
Connotations.
Anyway,
Let's talk about, okay, quickly back to the start of the weekend. Obviously we had confirmed Ollie Behrman was driving.
yes.
We kind of assumed that as soon as K-Mag was out, he's the only choice
Yeah.
to put in that car. And Adrian Newey to Aston Martin.
Yes. Just terribly kept secret. But
Yes.
it definitely was like, took away the last little shred of hope that he was going to go to Ferrari.
Yeah.
But
It's just annoying.
I know.
Like, his talents are going to be wasted.
I know.
I mean, they're not. Fernando Alonso, I'm excited to see a bit of a Fernando Alonso resurgence.
yes.
So
and there's
long-
rumours of Max going to Aston now.
Yeah. But, like, they're not going to replace Stroll, so surely they have to wait for Alonso to, like, retire
Yeah.
to bring in Max.
Yeah.
And he's on a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
So I would love if they just replaced Stroll, but that's not going to fucking happen. The whole reason they've brought in Newey is because Daddy Stroll wants to win a world championship with Lance. And he's like,
Literally.
well, you're not good.
No.
So let me bring you the fucking bells and whistles
Yeah.
to put you in.
Let me pay for your ticket.
But I am kind of, no, I'm not. I was going to say I'm excited for Stroll to like cause chaos further up the pack. But
True.
he's just going to like wipe out our boys
I know.
for no fucking reason.
I know.
So
outta
anyway,
here.
that's that.
That's that.
We went into the weekend and there was a lot of discussion obviously about McLaren's.
Team orders.
Team
papaya
orders.
rules.
I hear papaya rules in my nightmares.
It was so funny. I think I sent you the video of like Max Futural.
That was so funny, Lando on stream.
And Lando on stream. Max was like, for anyone that didn't see it, they were like streaming and like playing.
We would
like,
assume people know who Max Futural is as
Yeah.
well, but if you don't, grew up karting and racing with Lando, Formula 3 champion, I think, and then
or at least raced in Formula
yeah, and like then just like stopped racing and is Lando's best friend.
3. Yeah, and they like play video games online together. Anyway, so it was streaming like I think it was like, I assume it was like F1 22 or something. But Max was basically just like, all right, Lando, like papaya rules into turn one. Like, just
And
giving him
Lando
shit
was
about
like,
it.
shut the fuck up. I can't remember what he said, but he was like, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, don't. But anyway, basically, McLaren decided that they would prioritize Lando,
Yes.
but there was like, they were saying everything but what the actual bottom line was.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, oh, we realized, like, Lando's the one who could win a world championship.
Yeah, and there's a lot
Lando's
of
the one-
different scenarios.
Yeah. So, but basically what it sounds like, if you boil it down, is like they would prioritize Lando if it was a 50-50 call.
Yeah.
So if it was like no one's really in a better position,
Yeah.
they would flip the favor to Lando.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's great to start with,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be enough to win him a world championship. So that means basically if Oscar's got himself in front based off of just racing,
Yeah.
they're not going to tell him to swap it back.
Yeah. And now with Oscar winning,
Yeah.
like the argument to not favor Lando is like even greater.
I know. But it's like Lando's still the one in the position to win the world championship.
Absolutely,
it's-
totally. If anyone's gonna do it, it's him. But
yeah. I know.
Crazy.
And but then again, like that's still like no fault of Lando's that
I
that's
know.
happened. Like
yeah.
but
just
anyway,
unfortunate.
then oh my god, did you hear what Max said about it? when they were like they asked Max about like what he thought about McLaren's whole situation, and he was like, they got to figure that out because Oscar's closer to Lando than he is to me.
I was like, damn, ice cold.
I loved that from Max though.
Literally.
And then like Charles was just there, like he's having a really strong couple months of racing, like it's all happening.
The Ferrari Delulu in me is like
Charles well, it's possible. If McLaren keep like,
yeah,
which they probably will, there was just no McLaren problems because Lando was in P15.
Yeah.
So that kind of fixed the strategy debate for this weekend, but it's going to continue and it's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
So Charles could.
He could.
The one thing that I'm almost certain about is Max isn't making any gains off of his own merit anymore. His car's fucked.
I know.
He's
like,
not
really.
It's bad. Mm-hmm. Like, he's not going to make gains unless something bad happens to Lando and Charles.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it seems like at this point in time.
Like, him pitting on the last lap for softs to get the fastest lap to just get that extra point, I think shows how, like, desperate he is.
Yeah.
Of, like, I'm not safe here. I need every single point.
Yeah.
Like,
Lando finishing ahead of Max.
Crazy.
I wasn't expecting that. Never in my wildest dreams. I was like, someone's going to have to take out Max into turn 1 for Lando to, like, gain points. And I know that the points gained aren't, like, enough in, like, the grand scheme of things, like, per weekend.
Yeah.
But I didn't think any gain.
No.
I thought he was going backwards by at least, like, 10 points.
Absolutely. I was like, if Lando gets up into, like maybe 8th or 7th, like, amazing
That's
effort.
a good effort.
Yeah.
P4.
Inherited P4. But still.
Still P6 would have been really good.
Totally.
And just ahead of Max. Like,
I know, either way. Like, the fact that, insane.
Outrageous.
Anyway. Should we rewind a little bit and go back to practice?
Yeah. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag.
Literally.
It's like swiping on fucking Tinder.
I was going to say, it's like getting hit on in a bar. Man.
The joke was there.
It was.
Oh, it had to be made.
Oh, so silly. Anyway, red flags, left, right, and center. I think the dust was really the like main cause of that. Like, just it had everyone
sliding all over the gap.
Yeah, sliding around. If they came off the racing line, it was like bang, Charles in the wall. Bang, Colapinto in the wall.
Yeah, bang, Ollie in the wall. Like, everyone's in the fucking wall.
Literally.
All the Alpines were, like, shutting down left, right, and centre. I was like,
so
Ocon's got no power. Gasly's hasn't come out because his engine's fucked. Like,
yeah. It was Charles rage quitting in FP2. Just being like, I'm not driving this anymore.
I've had enough. Everyone was kind of sliding all over the place, as we said.
I came out of all the practice sessions, bar FP1, because Charles put it in the wall, but I came out of all the practice sessions being like, right, Ferrari, like, we're on
They
here.
were looking really good.
They were
McLaren was
strong.
off the pace in practice.
Mm-hmm.
I was concerned.
Yeah, concerned.
I was concerned. Especially,
slightly
like,
concerning.
Yeah, Lando finished one of the sessions, like, see ya.
Yeah, and, like, you never really know what they're doing in practice and, like, what, fuel loads they're running and yada, 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 but...
Also, with all the disruptions with all the red flags, that throws another thing in there.
Totally.
But I was like...
And then, obviously, in FP3, we saw the start of the Carlos and Perez beef.
What even happened?
So, like, Carlos, I think, was just, like, coming around a corner and then, like, locked up. And then, because he locked up, he, like, it was, like, a bit of a near miss with Perez.
Yeah.
So, yeah. More on that later. But it was, like, because a lot of my housemates don't normally watch practice because they're like, oh, it's boring, like, nothing really happens.
They're racing fans. They love the drama.
Yes.
They love a good...
Yeah, but they're like, we're a bit busy to watch.
Whereas I'm like, I will cancel everything.
Yeah.
Do you want to come? No.
No. I got plans. Yeah.
I'm busy.
But these practice sessions were good to watch. Bar all the red flags. Skip through the red flags.
Yeah.
And then it was good. But anyways, do you have any other thoughts on practice?
No.
Yeah, it was just a lot of slip sliding.
Yeah.
Quali. Did you just have the best time watching Quali?
I had the worst time ever.
Tell them about your overwhelm.
Oh, yeah, I was so stressed. So, basically, the AFL finals are on currently. My team did not make it.
Womp.
Piss poor effort from them, realistically. Normally the AFL games that start around like 7:30 finish at like 10:20ish. And obviously quali was starting at 10. So I was like, okay, this is fine. Set up my iPad with the footy here, put the F1 qualifying on my TV. And I was like, this is great. Set it up, and one team in the AFL is up by like 30 points. So I was like, that's good. I'll just have that there. Won't have to really look at it. Can focus on
The F1.
the F1. So in the football, massive comeback.
Yeah.
Goes down to the absolute wire, and the team my sister works for ends up losing by less than a goal in the last minute. So that's like all happening down here. When I'm looking up here and I'm like, why is Lando down in the fucking knockout zone? What's happening? It's fine. He's on a fast lap. It's all good. Wait, fuck, yellow flag. Because it was like yellow flag sector 3.
Yeah.
And Lando had just set his like sector 2. Because
Yeah.
I was like, I know he's in sector 3.
Yeah.
Yellow flag sector 3. The time's run out.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. And
Yeah.
then I see him box and I'm like, oh my God. This is the first time all year he hasn't made Q3. And then the AFL's like screaming and like, oh my God, my sister like got back from work because she left the game early and was like, what's happening in the footy? And I was like, Lando's just got out in Q1. And I was like, so like, there was just so much going on.
There were many emotions.
It was just like really stressful.
Yeah.
Like, there was just a lot. I really wish Lando finished his lap.
So, I watched the like,
I just wanted
when
to
I was
see.
preparing for like my notes on this, I was watching the quali highlights,
Yeah.
and it shows him on his lap.
Mm.
I think he got track limits. I think he knew that he went outside because he like went over that corner that everyone was like skidding
Yeah.
around. I think he went just outside the line, and I think he knew that he went just outside the line, and
That was after the yellow flag though.
yeah, but I think because he knew that,
So
he
he's
just
like,
came
"There's
into
no
the box. He
point."
was like,
Yeah.
"It's not like my lap's not going to be valid anyway."
Yeah, because what he said in the interview, he was like, oh, like I boxed because I lifted. Like I lifted off the accelerator, so I knew I'd fucked it. Like,
Yeah.
But I was like, but everyone's setting like rapid times. The track evolution in Q1 was ridiculous.
Insane. Totally.
So I was like, but if he did get track limits, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But because it's like he saw the yellow flag and then like immediately like went off the track and then he came
Yeah.
back on the track and it was green flag.
Yeah.
And I was like, because it was like such a brief yellow flag.
It was.
That I was like, did it affect him?
Yeah, did he actually notice it, slow down, and then did it screw his lap?
But
yeah.
obviously he's an F1 driver with the reactions of a fucking champion.
Yeah,
So he
yes.
slowed down, as he should.
Yes.
And that's the thing. I was so upset.
I know.
So upset. I was like, see ya, World Championship. Bye.
I know. Literally, my household were like, well, championship off. That was literally like verbatim
Yeah.
the words that came. Like, it was like,
Yep.
well,
That's that.
yeah. And it didn't end up being quite that so dramatic come the end of the weekend. However, it was like, oh my God, like,
The world
this
was
is
ending.
devastating for the championship. For Lando.
And for me.
For you specifically.
It was
Lando
devastating
and
for me.
Evie. Devastated.
Devastating. Yes, for
Anyway.
Anyway,
So that was kind of obviously the main thing that
Talking
happened in
point.
Q1. I mean, Q2 was also kind of just standard. The
Yeah.
usual suspects got knocked out. Obviously.
Williams.
Yeah.
Is that what you were about to say?
Yeah. Williams came to slay. So first of all.
Came to play, came to
Came
slay.
to play, came to slay. I made 3 predictions at
Yes.
the start.
And if you don't follow us on TikTok as well, you should go follow us. We make predictions every week, and
Yeah.
we have quite a lot of fun getting them wrong every week.
Yeah.
But
But this week, we both kind of cooked, and
Yeah.
I hella cooked, because I got all 3 of them right.
out of 6 predictions,
Yeah.
we got 5 right.
Yeah. We kind of slayed. Anyway, one of my predictions was that Franco Colapinto would make it through to Q2, and technically he made it through to Q3, but
But you didn't say he'd get out in Q2, so
No, I just said he'd make it through to Q2.
He did.
And slay. That man,
Can we talk about Franco Colapinto for a second?
yes.
Why has he risen up everyone?
Watching the videos of him with the reporters, I'm like, oh,
I'm
damn.
like blushing.
I
I'm
know.
like, oh my God.
With his accent and like, just,
It makes me stressed. I'm
I
like,
know.
what are you doing?
I'm like, hello? You just,
I'm like, he's got hella bitches for sure.
yeah.
100%.
Especially now.
Yeah.
It's
Points king.
slay. Literally. Man got 4 times the number of points this weekend than Logan Sargent got in his entire F1 career. 4 times.
That's got to hurt.
Yeah. Well, it's great if you're James Vowles and you made the decision to bring Franco Colapinto.
But the way that James Vowles treated Logan Sargent was so fucking horrible, and it's like kind of annoying to see him validated so well.
Really? I disagree.
Really?
So maybe because last year,
Yeah.
he was like so wonderful with Logan. Literally like covered him in cotton wool, like defended him to the nines. Like he was really like did everything to look after Logan and like nurture
Defend
him.
and everything.
And then obviously as this year went on, it was like, okay, well, come on.
Yeah.
So
But I just think him saying publicly, like, oh, he reached whatever, like, he reached the peak of what he was going to achieve in this sport.
yeah.
I was like, that's rough.
It was, but it was also like, given how much time he
Yeah.
gave him and how much he defended him,
Yeah.
it was like,
Okay.
fair.
But yeah, I still think some of the comments that he made were like a little unnecessary.
A little bit harsh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear you.
Anyway,
Anyway. Colapinto, cooked.
cooked. Absolutely cooked. Ollie Behrman also cooked.
He did. That was my other prediction, that he was going to get points. And got that right. Ding.
That one little point for him. Slay. Q3.
Yes.
Alex Albon.
Dude.
How do you leave that on? Oscar Piastri saw it from in front of him.
I know.
Oscar was in front of him and saw this fucking fan. For anyone that didn't see, Williams left.
For the Williams team that didn't see.
Why did that take me so long?
And you were like, processing.
I was like, huh? No. I need analysis. The Williams mechanics left the cooling fan that sits like on
The fluoro yellow cooling fan.
that sits like above the driver's head
Yeah.
to cool down the engine on the car when they sent Alex out. Obviously, Alex can't see it.
No,
above
it's
his
behind
head.
him.
So Oscar Piastri, who's the car in front leaving the pit lane, has seen it in his rear vision mirror.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, they've left something on Albon's car.
Yeah.
So everyone's going out for their final run of Q3.
Yeah.
And Albon's pulled over the side of the pit lane. There's a yellow flag in sector 1 because Albon's there trying to get rid of this fucking thing.
Yeah.
And he detaches it
Yeah.
and he's holding it and he's like trying to beckon one of the marshals
Yeah.
to like come and take it off him because obviously he doesn't want to like break it.
Yeah.
So he's like trying to like get them over, but they don't look at.
Well, they can't because it's technically like outside interference. If it's like someone that's not their team touches the car.
Gotcha.
So like they weren't
couldn't,
allowed to.
So he just yeeted it. It was like, see ya. So,
I know.
but what a fumble. So he ended up qualifying P10.
Yeah, well, because he didn't get across the line in time to set a lap.
Yeah. So everyone's like, Colapinto out-qualified him. I'm like, he did, but
Yes, but
asterisk
yeah,
on that.
agreed.
But Ollie out-qualified Nico, I think.
he did, which is really
Strong.
surprising because Nico's been a strong qualifier all
This
year.
Yeah.
So he did really well.
Good signs for Haas.
Yes.
Really good signs for Haas.
Yes.
Too bad his teammate's going to be Ocon.
Yeah. Ooh. But
Fun
anyway.
for everyone else.
Yes. And then standard Charles on pole, 4 years running.
Yeah. Still can't fucking win from
Nope.
pole.
But as soon as he put it on pole, I was like, well, Charles is going to win.
Yeah.
I was like, well, it was
That's
nice.
that.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously Oscar P2 was good. Would love
Yes.
to have Lando up there. But notably, Max,
Yes.
so far down.
Could not put the lap together.
Nope.
And didn't have like Perez flicking dust in front of him or anything to
No.
blame. It just couldn't pull it together.
Didn't the Ferraris have some sort of beef at some point in qualifying? Be like, he missed the slipstream. Like they were like, trying to set up a slipstream.
They were trying to set up Charles behind Carlos.
and it just
and
like,
then
didn't work. Carlos was like, what's he doing?
Yeah. He was like, hello.
It's not working. Now I'm impeding myself. What's going on? It was
Yeah,
fine.
that was
It worked
funny.
out perfectly
Yeah, it
fine.
was all good.
Anyway, Perez, speaking of, came to play for the first time
He
this year.
did.
He's like, Baku, let me just
become a Formula One driver.
and then go away again. But he's out-qualified Max for the first time in a year and a half.
Insane.
Insane. I just don't understand how he's so good in Baku compared to anywhere else. And I said this to you.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they say like street circuits.
Yeah.
But specifically Baku.
I know. Like, you definitely get, like, track specialists.
Sure.
Like, obviously, Lewis was Silverstone, Charles with Monaco, but his, like,
the amount
bad
of
luck.
difference.
Totally. And it's, like, just that one track. Like, Lewis is still good at other tracks.
Exactly.
Perez has just been...
And
like, clearly the car is, like, whatever. But still.
But the car is so bad. Like, and obviously he's been struggling outside of the car being bad. But, like, the car is bad.
Yeah.
And how come you can make the car do that here?
I know.
But you can't make it fucking 2 laps around Montreal.
Literally.
What's going on?
Hey?
I
I know.
understand. Anyway, I was kind of nervous that Perez had suddenly entered the chat. I was like, this is not good for
Yes.
McLaren and Ferrari.
Yes.
If Red Bull start having 2 functioning F1 drivers.
Yes.
That's not good.
No. For their...
Or for Daniel Ricciardo and Liam Lawson.
No.
Or one of them.
Yes.
TBC. But, yeah, I was like, I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
I don't have anything against him as a person, but as a McLaren fan, an Australian,
Yeah.
he needs to stay away.
Yeah, get out of
Get out of here.
Nah. But, yeah, it was a very exciting starting grid for me, I felt.
Yes.
Like, when it all was said and done, it was
Yeah.
I was like, all right, there's a lot to see how things go,
Yeah.
especially after, like, Lewis was back in the pit lane, and let's see how he
Yeah.
comes through. Obviously, Lando starting from the back, let's see how he comes through. Max being not, in the front row or two, like, let's see how he goes. So, will Charles get overtaken at the first corner by Oscar? Like, there was
Yeah.
a lot of little storylines.
For sure.
Well, I guess on that note then, should we talk about the race?
Yeah.
Stunning. So, first of all, Charles got an amazing start. I was actually
Yeah.
quite panicked about Oscar getting him really quickly,
Yeah.
and the fact that he didn't, I was like, whew, thank God.
Yeah, he had a really good start, actually. He, like, was off into the distance.
Yeah.
Off to the races.
I know. I was like, all right, we're on here. Double back-to-back wins.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Has he ever had back-to-back wins?
Maybe in 2022 when he was doing quite well, but I don't
Yeah.
actually know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But yeah, there was a lot of overtakes.
Oh, yeah. In Monza. Wait, maybe? When I was like, he won in Spa. He wins in Monza. Surely that was back-to-back because Monza 2019. Because,
Oh,
like-
oh yeah, his first 2 wins.
yeah.
That was the first, because it was his first win and his second win, and I think that's like the first time, or like the second time, it was like something to do with that. Like, it's like the first or second time that's ever happened.
yeah.
Is that his maiden win was followed up with another win
with
immediately.
another one.
Yeah.
It was back-to-back.
Yeah, first time.
Because I was like, surely that would have been, like, surely, like, Crofty wouldn't have said that line.
My knee, did you hear it?
Yeah. Like, surely Crofty wouldn't have said that line if they went back-to-back.
Yeah.
So, yes, he has done that.
Slay.
Anyway, so
for him.
I was like, back-to-back wins, let's go. Monza's involved, let's go. But,
Yeah, there was so many overtakes on the first lap.
yeah,
Like, Perez got past Carlos.
yep.
Max got past George. Lando got past a bunch of hoes.
For the first time in the whole season.
You leave it till now to have a good start. I mean, he did need it, but
He did.
you needed it before too.
Yeah, so great start. Lol to Stroll getting a puncture right off the bat.
I just love that. It was like Stroll radio, I have a puncture, and everyone just laughed.
Yeah, we were like, eh.
Everyone pointed and laughed.
Not to be a
at
hater,
Stroll. I'll be a hater.
I'll be a hater. Yeah. So that was funny. The Red Bulls really, like, apart from him, like, Perez getting past Carlos, they
the
really could
start.
not make up any ground at the
No.
start. They were just,
Well, Max got past George too.
yeah, but like,
That was a Max Verstappen send into one of the corners though. Like,
Yeah.
that wasn't really.
and then George ended up getting him back later. It was the
Yeah.
whole thing. What are your, first of all, yeah, you go.
Oh no, I was
Oh,
just like
sorry.
fumbling for fun.
I was just gonna say,
I wasn't just interrupting you like that. That's so rude. Bop, 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 bop.
I shut the fuck up.
Shut up. Anyways, no, please go.
I was just gonna say, what is it with Baku and like getting holes in the car? Because last year in Baku, George put a hole in Max's
yeah.
car, and then this year,
Lance.
Yuki got a hole in his car
Yeah.
from Lance, and I thought that was very funny
Yeah.
because like at no other track, I feel like have the the collisions resulted in
A
massive
hole.
holes being ripped in the side pods.
Yeah.
Except for in Baku.
Yeah, because the collision happened and it wasn't immediately like clear that Yuki had damage.
No.
But he just started going backwards in the places and it
Yeah.
was like, nah, he has to have.
Yeah.
And then obviously it was
And
a massive
then-
hole in his side pod.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, that will absolutely do it. I
So
was
that
like,
was
he's
very
been
funny.
overtaken by a Sauber.
Yeah. What's going on here?
This can't be real.
To be fair, the Arbies did not have a great weekend.
They've just been like kind of shit
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah. Like, every now and then they have a good race, but this was not one of them.
No.
They were not thriving.
No.
That moment, so obviously, like, I think there was just a lot of, like, really good moments.
I think one of the really key moments was Lando being a Slay team player.
Yes, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah. So this was like, it was very small, but it was so key
Yes.
in the eventuation of the race. So
Yeah.
Perez and Red Bull were like, let's try this undercut on Piastri.
Yeah.
Because you ain't getting past him on the track.
Yeah.
They boxed Perez to undercut Piastri.
Yeah.
Fed out directly behind our dear friend Lando Norris, who, great strategy call from McLaren. They just left him out there
Yeah.
on those first set of hard tyres for so long.
Yeah.
In like a good way. Like,
Totally.
He looked after his tyres. He's
Yeah.
rather good at that.
Yeah.
And
He was pretty much on the opposite strategy to almost
Everyone
the
else.
rest of the field.
But yeah, often that just like actually just works out like opposite, you know.
Yeah,
just
it
kinda,
actually
equals
doesn't end
out.
up working
But he
out.
actually just slayed.
Yes,
Like,
he did.
and then he fed out behind Lando and good old Will Joseph got on the radio and was like, hey, you reckon you can hold him up? Lando was like, yeah.
I got it.
How long for?
Yeah.
But obviously, like, the DRS on the straight, like, I feel like he was a bit of a sitting duck because
Yeah.
as he held him up, obviously that put Perez right on his tail.
Yeah.
So the amount of space that he had to hold him up really wasn't very much
Yeah.
because he was just going to get driven past on the straight with DRS. So it was kind of a close call, but
Yeah.
it was enough.
Yep.
And then Perez being like, he's fucking holding me up. Like, yeah, you're trying to undercut his teammate.
Yeah, what
Like,
do you expect him to do? Wave you through?
yeah, like, come on, go get him, actually.
Honestly.
Fuck this guy.
I know.
But, so that was kind of a slay.
That was a sleigh. Another sleigh was the three-way battle for the lead, that kind of was on and off throughout the whole race, particularly with like Perez coming in. But when that battle started, it was sort of like midway through the race.
Yeah.
And
it
it
was
was-
when Oscar got past.
Yeah. And it was so, I was like, oh, this is good. This is really
Especially when
good.
Perez is involved, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and
Evidently.
yeah. But it was just so like, oh, like sick, a three-way battle for the lead. Like, let's go.
And the...
Not that I was pleased after
No.
Oscar got past Charles,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was like, oh, this is cool.
Speaking of, that move, outrageous.
Dude, yeah, Oscar himself was like,
50-50.
50-50 on whether like I survive this corner.
Yeah. He was like, I'm either in the wall or
Yeah.
I'm in the lead of the race. And I love that. He's like, yeah, I knew
Full
it was
send.
50-50, but me.
Yes. It was very Daniel Ricciardo of him. I think it's an Aussie thing of just like
Slay.
the whole like last of the late breakers thing of just like full send.
I love it. It's so good.
Yep.
I'm
Like,
absolutely here for it. And like the nonchalant
oh, I
about
know.
it after, he's like, yeah, it was 50-50 whether I was making that corner or not.
Yeah. What do you know?
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Fair play. If I was in
Yeah.
the wall, I was in the wall.
Yeah. Not allowed to win the championship anyway, so
Yeah. Fair enough. Got to let my teammate through, so I might as well fucking see if I bin it into the wall or not. Full send. On my father. But that was a really good move.
it was a very good move.
And then like the immediate defense after it, because Charles came directly back at him and he was like, "Dools!" And I was like, "Ah!"
Dude, okay, so Charles trying to get past Oscar the whole race was like, that was the reason why it was like just off being a banger for me.
Yeah.
Because like, it was like this constant build up and there was
Yeah.
just like,
Like every time we'd get to the main straight, it was like, "Ooh."
I know. And like he'd need a couple laps to get within that like 5 or 6 tenths
He'd, like,
that he was
charge his
actually
battery and
close
then, like-
enough to like have a go.
Yeah.
And like, it was just so like frustrating.
I know, but I was like relieved. So it was like two
Totally.
sides of the story going on. I was like, "Fuck off, Charles."
Yeah, and I was like, go!
But was I going to say? At a point
Oscar's car became like 6 times its width every time that corner came round.
And it wasn't good because it was all legal. Like,
Totally.
neither of them pushed it too far.
No.
And I think that was like, that's a big slay. And like, obviously, one of your husbands was like, he's fucking moving under braking, he's weaving on the straight. I was like, no, he's not. He's doing what's legal.
Yeah.
Without pushing it that little bit too far that makes it like controversial.
Yes.
And then I thought, once Oscar had gotten to the lead, because once Charles kind of got into the lead, he did kind of end up pissing off a little bit pre-pit stops.
Yes.
And I was like, great, clean air.
Yeah.
He'll get, a bit ahead. He never did until Charles's tyres went.
Yeah.
Later, but he didn't. I was expecting like maybe a few laps of him like pushing and like,
He was maybe managing a little bit too.
Yeah.
Who knows? But like, I think as well, like, McLaren were clearly like running a lower downforce car, which like gave them more speed on the straights, which is ultimately like
our straight line speed is,
but like clearly that ultimately became like what made it difficult for Charles to get past was just their straight line speed ended up being really good. And have you seen the whole thing now about their rear wing?
Yeah.
And how it's like a little bit shifty?
Yeah.
And like it passed the like static test of like flexibility or something when they're testing it.
So it's legal.
Yeah, I know. But like they almost low key have like a little bit of DRS throughout the whole race from that rear wing. Yeah. But you know what? If it's legal, it's legal.
And this is the kind of thing where it's like, that they'll see that and then they'll make a new rule that you can't do that. Well, but like if it's legal at the time you run it, fair dues.
Exactly, because it's like these are the rules that you are allowed to work with, and every team does it. They find like what's the loophole.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Oscar was basically the Australian Minister of Defence.
Literally.
I don't know who the actual Australian Minister of Defence is, but it's now Oscar Piastri.
Yes, absolutely. Shout out to Alex Albon.
Dude, he was just in the middle of the silliest sandwich. So, those two matching trios of like Ferrari, McLaren, Rebel, Ferrari, McLaren, Rebel was so cool and like exciting to watch. And then just boom, smack bang in the middle with
Albon.
so much space on either side of him as well.
Yeah.
Alex Albon.
So
just sitting
funny.
there, just
chilling.
What are you doing?
Cruising. Having a good time.
Yeah. What the heck is a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas?
Literally. And I've seen another meme about it as well, and it's like 2 Dobermans, and it's like one of them has
the little cat.
Yeah, it's like it's like Leclerc, Piastri, Perez, and the other Doberman is like Sainz, Norris, Verstappen, and then there's like this little cat like this in the corner. It's like Albon. He slayed. He ate down.
He really did. They're like the Williams said, "Give me tracks with long straights, and
no other opportunities to overtake."
Yeah,
well,
literally.
Let's get a track where you can be only overtaken, where we're actually good.
Yeah. And then Alex Albon, world champion.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows how good he actually is. Like people kind of like me, he gets so overlooked because he has a shit car or has had a shit car for so long that he's like very much overlooked.
Yeah.
Kid slays.
Yeah, he really does. You know what's so funny was Karun, like, I think it was like Ted Kravitz, and he was like, "Oh, there goes Leclerc and Oscar," and then like, Karun being like,
"That sign's on Norris." Boom!
Wrong.
Sit down. He was like, "I need to nip this in the bud before you gets too excited."
Yeah. It was like, nope.
Because Ted was about to like take off. He was about to like levitate. And I was like, and Karun was like,
come back down to earth right now.
Be for real, kid.
That was so funny. So anyways, and then obviously the Charles and Oscar thing happened, and then Charles's and while this was happening, Carlos was gaining and joining the front three.
Chat.
And then Charles's tires fell off a cliff.
But basically what happened was when Perez kind of caught up, it seemed like Charles then like was distracted from his battle with Oscar because he then had to think about both, which is valid.
Yes.
And then Carlos joined the chat as Charles's tires started to go.
Yeah.
So Oscar, that's when he then was able to get a few seconds down the track, and then the battle became for second place.
Yes. And then luckily, so I thought that Charles was trying to like back Perez up so that Carlos could get through, but I think he was just losing time with the tires. But then for the good of Charles, Carlos and Perez
But what happened? Perez got past Charles for a hot second.
He did for a
on
second.
the straight. So
Yeah.
Perez went around. So Perez was actually up into second place.
Yeah.
And Charles was like, absolutely fucking not, and like pushed him.
Yeah.
Pushed him, and then let Carlos through. And
Yes.
Ferrari's like, sick, double podium.
Yes.
For 10 seconds. Not even 3 seconds.
Yeah, I was cheering
Yeah.
until.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, it was very much the definition of like a racing incident.
Yeah.
As much at the time, I was like, Perez!
Yeah.
But yeah, it was,
I mean, out of the two of them, if it was going to be anyone, it would be Perez. He's the one that had the whole open road, like all of
Yeah.
the space. But the reason that their wheels locked together,
Yeah.
like they could have just clipped each other and gotten away with it. But
totally. If they just banged side pods or whatever, it would have been, or like wheel into side
Wheel,
pod, it would have
yeah.
been like whatever.
But it's the angle that like Perez's wheel hit the side of Carlos's
Yeah, and it
car,
just-
and Carlos's wheel, like it just grabbed Carlos's car
Yeah.
and swung it like diagonal across the track into
Yeah.
the wall.
Mhm.
Imagine being Charles, be like, oh fuck.
Oh damn.
See ya.
Yeah, literally.
He's like, well, leaving chaos in my wake, but
I know.
what can I say? At least my second place is confirmed
Yeah,
now.
thank you.
But that
Yeah.
was a little crazy.
It was.
There was a lot of screaming.
Yeah.
Wow!
Particularly, well, there was screaming. Oh yeah, from us,
Yeah.
there was screaming.
We said this earlier. It's been threatening the whole race for that to
Yes.
happen to someone.
It was the build up and the build up and the build up, and that's what it ended up
Yeah.
being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is itchy.
Like, it was also just like funny because Perez was always like, "Wah!" and Carl's just like, oh, what
Oh, what
happened?
What happened?
Oh,
Oh.
this is
But he was sounding so like
strange.
incredulous. He was like, what the fuck? Because he probably
Yeah.
didn't even see Perez.
no,
Like,
totally. Or just
what
thought there
happened?
was like heaps of space.
There was.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I've seen people say like they were both kind of aiming for Charles's slipstream.
Yes.
So that's why they both
converged.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so obviously Perez was like trying to converge and didn't really expect Carlos to
Yeah.
converge, but
Yeah. But it is what it is.
Perez was mightily fuming.
Yes, especially in a race that Perez needed this win. Not
Yeah.
win, but
Win for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
He
know?
really, really did. There is a part of me that does feel for him
yeah.
in this situation.
Yeah.
I would prefer he lose his seat, but like I do, like for him as a person, like going
Yeah.
through everything this year and like
Yeah.
this is the one track where he's like, I can do something. I'm on for a good result.
Yeah.
Even though I've just lost a place, like 4th place is maybe the best finish he's had in ages, or
Yeah.
like on for a podium, like, you know.
Yeah.
And then for that to happen in such like a like just a racing incident,
Totally.
it's gotta hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I don't know. I don't think it will affect his like seat too much because I think that Red Bull will just be like, oh, it was Ferrari's fault. So no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do hear what you're saying.
I just think like when you look at the overall picture of his year, which Red Bull will probably do,
yeah.
to not have that result there as a positive.
Yeah.
Less so like the fact that he, got wiped out.
Yeah.
Not really, but
Yeah.
like less so the fact that he had a crash, more
Yeah.
so the fact that he hasn't had a good result. Like,
Yes.
I think when they like look at the year and his results, the lack of upsides,
Yes. Is a bit damning.
yeah,
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
amount of money he's cost in damages.
I know. Anyway. Did you have any other thoughts about the race?
No, obviously just the race then finished under the safety car. Max pitted to try and get the fastest lap.
I know.
But Lando's had it 3 weeks in a row,
Yeah.
races in a row.
Wow.
He's like,
That's crazy.
let me cook.
Yeah. So
Man sends it.
he does. He's like, I need every single point. And
Yeah.
yes, we have.
So that's
and
something
this
we didn't-
McLaren is quick. So
Yeah, I don't need good strategy to set the fastest lap.
Yeah.
I don't
Full
need
send.
Oscar to set the fastest
Yeah.
lap. But yeah, McLaren's ahead in the constructors.
They are. Congratulations. Very exciting. I do
Thank
hope
you.
Ferrari will be joining them above Red Bull shortly.
Fine with that.
Yes. I don't have hopes for winning, but
The second.
second,
Winning's on the table for
you
Ferrari.
never know. You
You
never
never
know. Let's do our awards. Well, first of all, let's start with our useless stat. Do you have a useless stat?
I don't have a useless stat.
I-
I only had just the fact that like the Ollie Behrman one. But...
Yeah, fair. No, my use of stat is less of a stat and more of a fact, which I thought was quite interesting that came out of the press day. So I think I might have sent you this, but Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz are neighbours.
Yes!
They live in the same building in Monaco and their
other.
doors are across from each other. How funny is that? And also Jamie Chadwick, who's a Williams development driver, also lives in the same building.
Wild.
So next year...
I guess Monaco's small.
Totally, but how what a coincidence. Not even just that they live in the same building, but they literally live across the hall.
Yeah, Alex being like, yeah, his apartment's much nicer than mine.
I know! Mans has been on that Ferrari salary.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, kid, you're kicking it in Williams.
Yeah.
Come
Sorry.
on. But I'm like, I hope you don't have teammate beef next year, because
that'd be real awkward.
Yeah, like, oh, hey.
It's just stuck in the elevator together.
Yeah, like,
hey.
Anyways,
anyway,
but that's funny.
I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, I will say the Ollie one, just in case people watching don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't even write it down, because I was like, it's been plastered across everything.
Yes.
It's not that exciting. But basically, Ollie Behrman, because of his point finish,
yes,
he's the first person ever to score points for two separate constructors in his first two race starts.
Yeah.
So,
which is a very rare occasion, but still interesting.
Fun.
Yeah.
The
Still
fact that
a
he
useless
scored
stat.
points in his first two race
I know.
starts. Because I was like, the Ferrari one, I was like, yeah, you're in a Ferrari.
Which, especially at that time of year, was definitely the second fastest car.
And I was like, just don't bin it into the wall and you'll probably get a couple points.
Yeah.
But scoring points in the house, pretty good. I mean, obviously promoted from P12, but
Absolutely.
slay.
Who was your biggest winner?
McLaren,
Yes.
because they damn slayed.
Yes.
Lando P15 to P4.
Yep. Nice.
And Oscar winning the race and them
Yep.
taking the lead of the constructors. So
Yes.
they're very much my winners.
Mm-hmm.
I also had George.
King of inherited podiums.
For real. I was like, but he manifested it too. Did you see this?
No.
In his post-quali thing,
Yeah.
they were like, so what's your strategy for tomorrow? He was like, oh, I hope some people up the road crash.
Oh.
And maybe I can get on the podium.
And he did. He did that.
Cooked.
Nice.
Again.
The predictions are going around. The predictions are across everyone.
My God. That's like another thing that I saw. I don't know if you saw this. It's Ted interviewing Lando before the race.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've bet can't remember the currency that's in Azerbaijan, and it's 45p. So it's less than $1 Australian. With, I think Andrea Stella or Zach Brown, that you're going to finish P4 and ahead of Max.
Oh my God.
And Lando's like, oh, damn, if you'd want to, tell me how to do that, that would be great. Lando was like, oh, you got a lot of faith in me. I don't know, it's going to be tough, blah, blah, blah.
The predictions were going around.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I'm
Damn.
like, is this AI?
Is this AI?
Who let Ted cook?
Who let Ted cook?
For real. And even Lando was like, that's ridiculous.
Slay.
Here we
Nailed
are.
it.
Anyway.
Fair.
Well, who's your...
I had Oscar, and I also just had Williams, because double points, Colapinto, Slade, just...
I loved all the photos of the Williams celebrations
I
after.
know.
That was super cute.
So sweet.
That's what I love. We've talked about this before, about F1, is you don't have to win to have, you've got so many different storylines, and, obviously getting 10 points is a huge haul for Williams.
Massive.
Huge haul for Williams.
Yep.
So, it's just so fun that, that's such a fun moment for them, and it's, nothing to do with the championships and winning and everything like that. So, that's super cute.
Yeah. Who was your biggest loser?
Perez.
Yeah, I had Perez too. I also had Yuki and RB. Yuki for his double DNF, or
In
two
two
DNFs
races
in a row.
Also Ferrari a little bit.
Yeah.
They could have had a solid points haul, and obviously it's not really their fault, but Carlos DNFing and Charles not winning, not ideal.
Yeah.
If Carlos had still finished third or fourth, I would have still
phenomenal.
said good, solid, but them only getting 18 points.
Rough. Especially when they are technically still in contention.
Yeah, it's a bit rough.
Yeah, I agree. What was your silliest surprise?
Double Williams points.
Mine was also Williams related. It was Alex Albon being in the middle of the weirdest, little Group A and Group B.
Literally. He was just chilling. He was, holding up Perez at one point.
Yep.
And it was I saw a meme and it was Alex Albon like holding up Perez and being like, Christian Horner, I want you to know that that was me. A revenge drive. Be like, look at me now. Yeah. My Williams holding up my replacement. Not really, but like.
Literally.
I can't remember. Anyway.
Yeah, no, but.
Not directly.
So good. What was your funniest meme or biggest meme from the weekend?
There's a really small one from like practice of Lando flipping off Pierre.
Yeah.
I just thought that was funny. And I have a little bit of cooking to do.
Yes.
On the Lando haters.
Yes.
It's become like a trend almost to just slander Lando.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen it, but he is copying it big time.
Yeah.
And there's a few things that annoy me about it.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm a Lando fan. I'll take everyone on. I don't really care. But, like, people, when he flipped off Pierre, were like, he's so disrespectful. Who the fuck does he think he is? Blah, 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 blah. And these are the same people that are like, bring back sassy F1 drivers. I miss old F1 when drivers were, like, saying crazy, outrageous shit and, like, being really, like, beefy with each other and, like, all of this.
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways.
No.
You really can't.
Yeah.
So I'm like, pick a side.
Yeah. And stick to it.
Yeah. Also, like, with Lando, everyone's always saying, like, oh, he's not world championship material, he's not that good, he's overrated, Oscar's better, blah, blah, blah. That's people's opinion.
Yeah.
But it's like, what does he need to do to prove to you that he's a good driver? Like,
yeah, totally. Because it's just like people are like, oh, he's not ready. Well, he's got the points. So what do you mean he's not ready? If he's got enough points to win a world championship, then he gets to win the world championship. There's no being ready. It's just you go in the points and then you win the championship. Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah. So it just really annoys me when people are like, and you can have opinions on drivers. I'm not saying that it's like, people need to just like coddle him and everyone needs to be a Lando fan. Like, you can dislike a driver. That's fine. You can dislike my favorite driver. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just the like lack of awareness.
Yeah.
And the lack of like coherent thinking.
Yeah.
It's like, you're just gonna frame everything to fit your agenda.
Yeah. Fair.
Anyway.
Anyway,
sorry, what was yours?
My biggest meme. There was two that I had that I thought were funny. Yeah. The first one was Oscar saying in the cool down room, like, that Carlos, like, went to finish the job.
That was
when they
so
went
funny.
To the wall, like, from their brawl in FP3, like, not being friends, and they went to finish the
But Charles
job.
agreed with him.
Yeah,
they were literally like but because Oscar was like, oh, those two haven't been the best of friends this weekend. Charles was like, yeah.
I know.
I was like,
It was so funny.
Okay.
And then
Oscar Piastri.
I know. And then Will Joseph in the radio on, like, when, I don't know, mid-race at some point, being like, imagine Andrea Stella in your ear telling you 0 wheel spin. What?
They must have a joke about it. Like, he must say it all the time.
Totally. But
like,
just such a bizarre team radio.
I was so confused. I think we were all, like, silent. We were like,
eh. What does that mean?
Like, what demon are you unleashing upon Lando?
Literally. So weird. What was your favourite moment from the weekend?
I loved Oscar's overtake on Charles.
Yes.
I thought him almost falling off his car was really funny.
Yeah,
in the celebration.
That was so funny.
That wasn't on my list, but I just remembered that we hadn't said it.
Yeah.
And something that made me really happy was all of the McLaren photos and videos of the celebration. Yes. Because it's finally like what Oscar's first win like should have been. Yeah. And the fact that Lando had a really good result. So like everyone's happy. Yes. And they do their little McLaren debrief where like Andrea Stella has the microphone. He's like, yeah, blah, 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 good weekend, blah, blah, whatever. Passes over to Lando. Lando says a couple things. Passes over to Oscar. He says a few things. So they do it every week, and they are in varying states of being every time. Yes. But obviously people were kind of like, oh, they're like breaking up the bromance, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. Yeah. And like, I don't care if they're not best friends. They just need to get along. Yeah. Don't beef, please. Totally. But as like Lando's finishing up what he says, he's like, and we'll pass over to Osk. Aww. And everyone was like, it's back. We called him Osk. War is over. Just keep these vibes.
Yes. Slay. My favorite moment was just like that three-way battle for the lead. I thought it was just so good. And even like right at the end, obviously before the crash, like Carlos joining it and it becoming almost like a four-way thing, like just so good. So yeah, that was my favorite moment. Who was your driver of the day?
I agree with the people.
Yes.
I do think Oscar absolutely deserved that. Are you kidding? He's so mature for his age. So many drivers would have lost their head and like just made a mistake that let Charles pass.
Yeah.
At some point. He was under pressure for so long.
Yeah.
Like, he absolutely deserved driver of the day.
Yes.
Also Alex.
Yeah, agreed.
No need to like name the whole grid, but like.
No, Colapinto was my other one outside of Oscar. Just so good.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of wraps it up, unless you have any other thoughts about the weekend to share.
We've been going for so fucking long, we need to stop.
I know.
It's getting ridiculous. Our episodes just get longer.
I know. We just keep yapping.
This is not good.
I know. Anyways, we will see you next weekend from Singapore. Yeah. So exciting.
So it's going to look a little different, but we will be in the same room. It's not going to be like via the stratosphere.
It will. And Singapore is going to be, I'm very excited. It's hopefully going to be a really good race. It is not one of Red Bull's strongest suits.
No, and they're already on struggle street. Yeah. So big opportunities.
Yes, definitely.
Big
so
opportunities.
Let's see how we go.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening / watching again. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, if you're listening on Spotify or another listening platform, I can't even remember which ones we're on these days. Please do give us a 5-star review because it really helps us out. If you're watching on YouTube, like the video, subscribe so you don't miss any of our Singapore content because we're going to be uploading a bit more. Yeah. And leave us a comment, let us know your thoughts, etc. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.